Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Tragedy occurs at the College of Health Technology, Kano, as explosive rips through the school, killing scores of people. Commotion at Edo House of Assembly. Lawmakers throw caution to the wind, engage in a free-for-all fight. Governor-elect of Ekiti State, Ayo Fayose, visits Governor Kayode Fayemi. Both men agree to work together. And Sudanese woman sentenced to death for refusing to renounce Christianity, freed. All right, a quick reminder to you that all our top stories are on our website, ChannelsTV.com, and on YouTube.com/channelsweb. To get us on the move, please visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. And do take advantage of the Channels Eyewitness feature on our Android, iOS and Windows 8 platforms. So if you have pictures or videos to share with us, tap the application on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu, and then follow the instructions. Now, hope for justice is not lost for a retired Assistant Controller of Customs, Angela Kerry, and her 10-year-old daughter, who were allegedly buried alive. The suspect in the case, Olatunji Aziz, a herbalist who confessed to have murdered the victims, told journalists that he single-handedly carried out the act in Ajuwon area of Ogun State. Parading the suspect, the Commissioner of Police, Umar Manko, explained that investigations are concluded and Mr. Aziz will soon be charged to court.
The atmosphere at the police headquarters, Ikeja, Lagos, before the suspect in the murder of retired Assistant Controller of Customs, Angela Kerry, and her daughter was brought out of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad cell.
Mr. Dike! Hey, go back!
Indeed, the appearance of Olatunji Aziz grabbed the attention of journalists, police officers, and others. There may be nothing spectacular about his looks, but it's the horrifying nature of his crime that causes the stare. The Lagos State Commissioner of Police related how a reported case of disappearance of the suspect's victims led detectives to where they were buried.
She disappeared with her vehicle. Luckily, the vehicle had a tracking device, which was traced to a dealer. One confronted, the dealer confirmed that the vehicle was brought to him for sale by one Alhaji Olatunji Aziz, who incidentally we later discovered to be an herbalist who has hypnotized this woman for a very long time. He has taken well over 200 million naira both in cash and properties from that late woman. The woman wanted a child, and he now capitalized on that.
Still unremorseful, Olatunji Aziz likened the incident to a case of killing his enemy before she kills him.
When two people are in the battlefield, anyone that first attack is the victory. So I went to the backyard. She wasn't entered to that place before. So I put the mat on that. Yes. Cover it with the white cloth, as she normally saw in my other temple. I went before her. I said, okay, you normally know what we are going to do. Go and stand there and lay down. Let's pray together. So any drug I say, I give it to you. He said, but it's not for the pregnancy again. I said, yes, for your health. And she went there, matched the white cloth on the mat, and fell into the pit. That is how everything was ended.
From the investigations conducted, it's clear that the 68-year-old retired customs officer had dealings with the herbalist. Money and properties were also involved. What is, however, unclear, as claimed by the suspect, is if the deceased had indeed threatened to take his life.
Shocking. Well, delegates at the National Conference have endorsed the establishment of a special anti-corruption court in the country. The conference also rejected an amendment calling for the recognition of the right to self-determination to be included in the Constitution. These decisions were taken after the consideration of the report of the Conference Committee on Law, Judiciary and Legal Reforms. Our correspondent Lanre Lasisi reports.
Of the week, and with the warning of the Secretariat clear to all, the conference had a better attendance as delegates returned to their seats. The day commenced with the consideration of the report of the Committee on Law, Judiciary and Legal Reforms. After the chairman gave a summary, delegates discussed the report.
The referendum should be adopted so that the people will have the right to pass judgment on the proceedings. If by 51% the electorate adopt a resolution, it's my humble submission that the new constitution will have come. The present constitution is a military dictator. The Abdul constitution has expired. We need a new constitution for Nigeria. Before Nigerians, you said that this constitution has expired. But for somebody to stand here and tell us, and tell Nigerians and the world, that this constitution is illegitimate, I think this kind of statement is impinging on the credibility and integrity of members of this conference.
And even though about 300 delegates sought to speak on the committee report, the conference took views from only 80 delegates before moving on to consider the amendments.
All those in favor of the establishment of constitutional courts, say aye. Aye. Against, say nay. Nay. The ayes have it. All those in favor of anti-corruption courts, a special court, say aye. Aye. All those against, say nay. The ayes have it. A clause of the right to self-determination should be added in the Nigerian Constitution. All those in favor of that say aye. Aye. All those against say nay. The nays have it. Finished.
The conference also rejected the recommendation to have prison services moved from the exclusive legislative list to the concurrent list. The report was adopted at the end of the day. Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
Now, for Nigeria to sustain its domestic gas supply, there's the need to continue to create the right environment through sound fiscal regimes, adequate infrastructure and development of the oil and gas sector. Now, this is according to some major players in the sector at the annual commercial week of the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Limited in Abuja. They also noted that liquefied petroleum gas can boost the economic well-being of Nigerians if properly harnessed. Our correspondent Amaka Okafo reports.
It's a gathering of major players in the Nigerian gas sector. They are here to chart a course for improving domestic gas usage in Nigeria. Even though Nigeria is the fourth largest producer and exporter, local consumption of LPG is abysmal. However, the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Limited is hopeful that it will get better through the many interventions going on in the sector.
For the logistics, the mother vessel, we still continue to provide a subsidy on that. As I mentioned in my presentation, there is a subsidy on that which is keeping the pricing in the market where it is today. We are also averaging the price, so we are not charging the global price and dealing with all the volatility you have in the global pricing. So what we do is that we do a 6-month average. We're engaging with some counterparties to try to make sure that there are terminals built in other parts of the country, because part of the problem why the price is still high in the market is the logistics. The only functional terminals are in Lagos, and to bring the gas from Lagos to other parts of the country, you have to truck the gas.
Players in the sector also believe that there is the need to walk the talk in terms of adequate fiscal regime, better infrastructure, pricing and subsidizing of LPG as done in other countries around the world to increase domestic usage.
If we look ahead to the future, the strong gas demand which is coming, we need to begin that process today. And to begin that process today, we need several of those key parameters in place. Number one, lift the uncertainty in the industry, pass enabling laws with a fiscality which would encourage new investments and new projects. This is a win-win for all stakeholders.
We're hoping that LPG is included in the list of non-vatable items. We're hoping for zero duty for the next 10 years on LPG equipment. That as a first step. If we get all the concessions that we're asking for sure, the markets would evolve massively.
The consensus at this gathering is that Nigeria has adequate supply of gas and there is a large demand for LPG. However, until the many bottlenecks bedeviling the sector are removed, it will be difficult to achieve an increase in local usage of gas in the country. Amaka Ukafo, Channels Television News.
The first United Nations Environment Assembly has opened in Nairobi, the Kenyan capital in East Africa. Now, the UNEA is the result of the call made by world leaders at the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development in Brazil in June 2012, and that was to strengthen and upgrade the United Nations Environment Programme. Our correspondent Ayola Kasim reports.
The inaugural meeting of the United Nations Environment Assembly is convened against the backdrop of insecurity in Kenya. Security checks therefore form a major part of the event, which attracts delegates from more than 190 countries.
Observe 1 minute of silence.
The Sudanese Minister of Environment, Forestry and Physical Development, who performed his last duty as the President of the Assembly, urged delegates to come out with tangible results.
We must strengthen our resolve to match the challenges of our times to ensure a sustainable global development path.
Each speaker encouraged delegates to give to the world a new resolution that will make sustainable development a reality.
There's need for increased financial support from the UN regular budget to a matter that is a matter that is on the agenda of this session and on which I call upon delegates here to consider positively.
As the President, I stand ready to dedicate my efforts to ensuring that we have an effective and productive session.
The 5-day meeting will focus on sustainable development goals and the platform for leadership on global environmental policy. While the delegates here deliberate on the environment, the message most Kenyans want them to have at the back of their minds while they stay in Nairobi is, there's no need to worry, well, perhaps as far as the security is concerned. And from the United Nations Environment Programme in Nairobi, I'm Ayola Kasim reporting for Channels Television News.
When the news at 10 returns, the Central Bank of Nigeria corrects deficiencies in the operation of BDCs. That's on Business News. Do join us again.